All right, we are in the kitchen this morning with U of I's Jesse Miller, joining us for our science segment. And I have these fancy gloves on, which means I can only imagine I'm going to be doing something messy or dangerous or... What am I doing?
Well,
what do I got going on?
We're going to play with something very cold, actually. So I didn't really have any thematic thing, but I just thought I'd show something that people don't get to see very often.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we have oxygen. You know, we breathe oxygen. We breathe nitrogen and oxygen and air. But we don't get to see it very often because it's a gas and it's colorless gas, and you just don't get to see it. So I whipped up in my lab this morning, as it were, condensed some oxygen out of the air so I can show it and show some different properties. And when we talk about, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, because I want to talk about oxidation. In the next segment, we're going to do some pretty fiery stuff.
So fiery, we have to head out to the back parking lot.
That's right.
Okay.
So what we have here, and you can hold it if you'd like. I'd hold it up here so people can see it.
Oh.
It's actually blue. Okay, liquid oxygen. This is liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen, let me take that off there so it doesn't pop.
Oh, it is cold, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cold. Well, I cool this down with liquid nitrogen, which is quite cold, like minus 200 degrees Celsius. I mean, it's pretty cold, right?
Yeah, it's getting cold.
Oxygen has a higher boiling point, so we can use nitrogen to cool down the oxygen. Okay, so that's what I did. I pumped oxygen through a distilling apparatus and cooled it with liquid nitrogen, and it's pulling the water vapor out of the air and frosting up here, so it's hard to see. But this is liquid oxygen. Now, the thing about oxygen, when we talk about oxidation, what's oxidation? Well, oxidation is moving of electrons from one element or atom to another. Okay. It's an exchange of electrons. Oxygen's very good at that. Oxygen's kind of the Lothario of the element world, where it wants to go with whoever's around. And sorry to anthropomorphize the elements, but anyway, so oxidation is that, and this, of course, is the eponymous character in that whole thing, and that's oxygen, and it does it very well. And so when we have fires and things like that, it's simply an oxidation going on, and it gives off a lot of energy in the process. And we're going to see that here. That oxygen in itself is actually not flammable. Okay? But oxygen promotes burning.
It's the fuel to the fire.
Right. So you don't want to have oxygen around a fire. So what am I going to do?
Light a fire.
I'm going to light a fire. And we'll get this going here for a second. Okay, so this is just a Cheeto, but watch what happens when you got there.
Gosh!
There we go. It's like hot as the sun, huh?
Goodness gracious!
That's why you don't like to have oxygen, pure oxygen around. So, you know, people that are using oxygen to breathe with, to help them breathe and stuff like that, have to be careful not to have their oxygen around fire sources, because you'll just feed that fire.
That is crazy.
Ooh, it's really bright too.
Woo.
Right. So, as you can see, this is oxidation because it's liquid and it's very concentrated. You know, in the air, it's only 20%.
Right.
Okay, and it takes a little bit to get to whatever your fuel is. But in here, it's pure liquid, and so it goes very, very fast.
Right, it's very concentrated.
The kinetics speed up and gives off, as you can see, a lot of energy. And that was just like 3 or 4 little Cheetos.
Yeah,
that's a lot of energy in this food that you're putting into your body. And of course, these are the flaming hot Cheetos.
Yeah, of course, we didn't mess around with that at all, right?
No relation. But anyway, so I just thought I'd show that because, you know, like I said, you don't get to see, your average person at least doesn't get to see liquid oxygen very often.
Right. Now, how hard was that to condense like that, or to get
like I said, it wasn't terribly difficult, really, because no, I got it.
Okay.
I'm used to this. So it wasn't really that difficult. You can hold it again if you want.
Makes me kind of nervous.
Because I just love doing it. It's like a champagne cork. You got it? You want to drop it? Okay. So it'll explode if you drop it. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't very difficult because I had the liquid nitrogen already, and because it's colder than the oxygen will condense quite easily into it. I just had to pump the oxygen through.
And we're going to be doing a lot more in our 7 o'clock hour of the morning show.
That's right.
We have to move outside because it's going to be so big.